I'm not sure how to approach this since the first time I was going about it, I ended up going on a tangent about Wamuu versus Joseph, trying to find the smallest amount of words to summarize how I'm feeling about this before I talk about him. I think the easiest thing is to say that I love Wamuu. Now, Wamuu's character to me in Battle Tendency is underutilized with how much I like him. I would even take a Wamuu OVA and have it titled as The Pillarman's Bizarre Adventure. You could even remove Cars in AC/DC and have it as Wamuu's Bizarre Adventure, where it's just him roaming the earth looking for the strongest being. And I'm just going to take a step back here and tell you why I like him so much. The honorable archetype is probably one of my favorite tropes that are done in anything. When there's characters like Wamuu, Jonathan, Yuppie from Hunter x Hunter, Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, All Might, My Hero, Mumen Rider, One Punch Man, and Kuwabara from Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm sure you can understand what area of character I'm getting at. It's a trope that's believed to just be overdone and outplayed when it's a role that's actually not fulfilled as well as you would think. A lot of areas in fiction will try to recreate this character in a different way, but will fail due to the character holding no weight. All of the characters I mentioned here have huge defining moments and impactful roles in their respective franchises, and all of them are extremely necessary. Wamuu's character and Battle Tendency had the same amount of effect as Cars, debatably more because of what happened between him and Caesar and how well Caesar connected to everyone else. Yet, every character interaction you have with him, you never really see Wamuu going out of his way to start problems first. Though, if a fight was to be initiated, he won't hesitate to get through to move on, especially if he believes the person trying to fight him isn't worth the time. He also shows it in the first scuffle between him and Caesar, and I call it a scuffle because it definitely wasn't a fight. Then you see when he's against someone that's possibly worth his time, he's about getting into it. I also love that he's a warrior of time where certain things get ahead of him just because of how people have adapted what's considered underhanded into tactics, and he's unaware of it and doesn't understand why it's done. But he also matches it because he believes in giving back the energy that's being put onto him. And if his opponent isn't going to fight fair on the ground that he's on, he can get down to their level, or on equal footing. You can match whatever that is. You can see it as respect, but it's more so on just matching, punishing, and outdoing his opponent. Then there's his respect for living beings, which is something that I truly admire about him. But it's not what I focus on when thinking about Wamuu. It may be due to his genetics and being more like his parents no matter how he was raised, but Wamuu being able to define himself as a character even when being raised by both AC/DC and Cars is insane. You should also be able to factor in how old Wamuu is, that connecting over to how he was still able to stand his ground mentally through everything that was being put onto him. Wamuu had legitimately lived his whole life being his own person, but still pledging his allegiance to Cars. It was respect for the men who had raised him, but that respect alone wouldn't make him stop being who he is. Even Cars acknowledges what kind of person Wamuu is and what he doesn't like being done to him, especially with moments like how Cars had accidentally stepped in Wamuu's shadow, and that showed. Cars would respect it when Wamuu was living alongside him, though he did disrespect Wamuu after death by cheating. And off topic, is what Cars did really considered cheating? If we're going to think about all that Joseph has done and what kind of person he is what Cars did that far off? I mean, Joseph has more numbers on the board, and this is just Cars matching it up with just one act. Morally, probably wasn't okay, but in fighting with Pillarmen, I wouldn't think that morals are in the picture. They're more so out the window, well, unless you're Wamuu. Thinking about it also, he wasn't really doing anything for the whole part, so you can't really put that all on the Cars. It's like one act versus doing nothing throughout the whole part. You understand it right there. But back onto the topic of Wamuu. Without giving too much and going about it in an analytical approach, because that's what my character analysis videos are for, Wamuu is a character I would love to see relived in the future, especially because I believe that a lot of the villains and minor villains take after him like how every Joestar takes after Jonathan in some way. It's one of those things that JoJo is great at with doing the whole passing the torch type of thing that goes on. What's funny is that Wamuu lived under Cars, and you would think that there would be some sort of parallel between him and Joseph, both characters being unable to follow what history was behind them, yet takes away in a sense of certain aspects of who they respect. Except that for Wamuu, he just holds a respect for Cars instead of taking from him, and Joseph unknowingly does it just due to genetics alone. I'm sure that Cars would originally even tell Wamuu to define himself, but he didn't really want him becoming who he was when he fought and died. And I love the guy. Hopefully he gets a second chance on it all. And thank you guys for watching. If there was anything else I really had to say about Wamuu, it's more on how he was able to go to any person and just be like, wow, this person has a chance of being even stronger than they are. Maybe I should let them live and go further. And Cars was against that and all that. That's one thing I wish I could factor in more. But there wasn't much I could really talk about. It's just the whole aspect of honor. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to be planning to do more of these examining characters videos because this is just like really not so much a face value approach. It's just a summary on what I think just about the character itself. Nothing really pinpointing, like not an analytical video. But yeah, if you guys have any other characters, put that in the comments. I'll be sure to check that out. I'm going to be coming back with a lot of more series and yada yada. You get the point of it all. Thank you guys so much again though. Probably you might want to ask for just be specific on what parts, because honestly I was just about to just do go ahead and do a part 6 video free, but you know, I'm just giving you guys a chance to ask that all. It's all in the comments. I keep track of it all, trust me. So thank you guys for coming out again. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, peace out. Follow my Discord and links in the description. I messed that up. Either way, peace out and Godspeed.